Okay, let's dive right in. We're going to break down how you can make any idea, and I mean any idea, truly unforgettable. Because here's the thing, the secret isn't about being the loudest person in the room, it's all about having the clearest structure. You know that feeling, right? It's just so frustrating. You've got this amazing idea, this really critical update, but when you look out at your audience, all you see are these blank stares. Look, you're not alone. And more importantly, it's probably not your fault. It's actually a problem of biology. And this right here, is the villain of our story, cognitive backlog. You see, research from Dr. Paul King shows that listening isn't passive at all. It's hard work for our brains. And get this, it literally burns glucose. So when you just dump a ton of information on people without any structure, you're basically forcing their brains into exhaustion. And what happens? They just check. And that brings us to a super important constraint. The folks over at TED figured out that 18 minutes is pretty much the sweet spot for a presentation. Why? Well, it's long enough to say something meaningful, but it's short enough that you don't trigger that cognitive overload. It's a time limit that forces you, the speaker, to be disciplined, to cut out all the fluff and focus only on what truly matters. So, how do you make every one of those minutes count? It all starts with finding the one single thing that connects everything you're about to say. This is what Chris Anderson, the head of TED, calls the through line. Your through line is the core message, the big idea you want to plant in your audience's mind. Think of it like a strong rope that runs through your entire talk. Every example, every piece of data, every single story you tell, it has to tie securely back to this rope. And if it doesn't, you got to cut it. No exceptions. Okay, this example makes it perfectly clear. Kayaking in Kazakhstan, that's just a topic. It's a place, an activity, it's fine. But team spirit can overcome any obstacle. Now that is a through line. That's an idea worth spreading. You could totally use the kayaking story to prove that through line, but the story itself isn't the point. The idea is. See the difference? So once you've got that through line locked in, you need a blueprint to build your presentation around it. And honestly, the most powerful blueprint we have is also one of the oldest, the simple rule of three. Why three? It's kind of funny, but our brains are just wired to process information in threes. It's why we have slogans like life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Anything more than three main points, and you risk creating that exact cognitive backlog we're trying so hard to avoid. Three is simple, it's satisfying, and it's super sticky. So please don't think of your talk as just a list of facts. Think of it like a three-act play. Act 1, you introduce the problem, the villain. Act 2, you bring in the solution, the hero, and you back it up with your data. And then in Act 3, you show the transformation, the amazing future that's possible, and you end with a crystal clear call to action. Problem, solution, transformation. That's your blueprint. Okay, so we've got our big picture structure, our three-act play. But even in a perfectly structured talk, attention starts to fade. Remember that glucose-burning brain? Yeah, it gets tired. So now we have to think about the microstructure, how to strategically reset our audience's attention along the way. And this is one of my favorite tools ever, the soft break. Think of it as a deliberate pattern interrupt. See, after about 10 minutes of just you talking and showing slides, the brain starts to wander. A soft break is just a simple, elegant way to hit the reset button, give everyone a little mental breather, and pull them right back in for what's next. You can literally architect your entire presentation around this rhythm. Plan to speak for about 10 minutes, and then boom, you deliberately drop in a soft break. It resets everyone's attention. Then, after that little reset, you can launch right into your next chunk of content. It's a simple trick that keeps the energy high and stops people from tuning out. So what does a soft break actually look like? Well, pretty much anything that changes the format. You could go from talking about data to telling a short personal story. Or you could play a quick 2-minute video or do a fast product demo. You could even just ask the audience a simple question. Ask for a show of hands. Anything to break the monologue and make them an active part of the experience again. All right, so we've got our through line, we've got the rule of three, and we know how to use soft breaks. Now let's pull it all together with the final tools you need to make your message absolutely, undeniably stick. Just let that sink in for a second. This one statistic should change how you think about presentations forever. If you are only speaking, people will forget almost everything you said. But when you pair your words with a strong, relevant image, retention goes through the roof. It skyrockets. Your slides aren't a teleprompter for you, they're a visual anchor for your audience. In their amazing book, Made to Stick, Chip and Dan Heath explain exactly why some ideas survive and others just die. And it all comes back to a handful of principles, making things simple, unexpected, and concrete. And guess what? The structure we've been talking about helps us do exactly that. So here it is, a final, super actionable tool for you. Before your next big talk, build yourself a message map. First, create a headline for your idea that's so short and punchy it could fit in a tweet. That's your through line. Second, support that headline with your 3 key messages, your 3 acts. And finally, reinforce each of those messages with the stories, the data, and the examples that bring it all to life. That's your whole presentation, right there on a single page. You see, structure isn't about boxing in your creativity. Not at all. It's about liberating your idea so it can really fly. It's about giving your audience a map so they don't get lost on the awesome journey you're taking them on. So the only question left is, what's the one important idea you are going to make stick?